All right, so I asked several questions here. I said, where do we start gathering the vowels? And everyone I talked to had the right answer and said, in this condition here, we add something that says, let me just call it vowels. I'll make a string and I'll call it vowels. And I set it to the letter. That way it's a new string, has length 1, it has this one letter. And then I said, where do you add more? And I think everyone got that too, that you keep adding them in this loop here. So I should just say it in English instead of typing out add letter to vowels. And now that string gets longer and longer. Now at some point I'm done. At the point here, I have reached the end of the vowels. And now I need to make a decision. Is this going to be my new longest so far, or isn't it? So over here, I need to compare if, okay, what do I do?
Oh.
I don't think I has anything to do with it.
Yeah, vowel.length.
Okay, vowels is longer than
Previous. I don't. Do you have a previous?
there's this mysterious one that I haven't put in yet. The longest, what was the longest vowel group so far?
Yeah.
Longest vowel group so far. Then vowels equals. Yes, no?
Should it be the other way?
It should be the other way around. Right? Because we want to remember the longest vowel group so far. All right, so that's the basic idea. Now there's a technical thing that I don't quite see yet, and that is how does vowels get. So what happens if we just have consonants? Let's look at some word that starts out with a consonant, like here. These are all bad ones. Like groups. Okay. So when I look at groups, so I start with a G. The letter is a G. It's not a vowel. And now, so this doesn't happen. This thing doesn't happen because it's not a vowel. But I'm running now into this comparison. The vowels is longer than the longest string so far. Vowels hasn't even been set in this pass through. How do I deal with that? So, see, when you run through this here, vowels is only set in this branch here, and it is not set at all in the other branch.
Start it as an empty string.
So if I start it as an empty string, where do I start it as an empty string?
Above the while statement.
Above the, yeah.
Here?
I think.
Okay. So that'll take care of my concern right now. So right now it's the empty string, and so this thing will never happen because the empty string is never going to be longer than anything. Now I'm going to go through the O and the U, and that's now going to set vowels to OU. And then I'm going to come back here and parse the P and the S. How does vowels get reset? Because now it's no longer valid, I want to reset it.
At the end, can you reset it to a new, like, empty string?
So at some place, I want to set it again to the empty string, but where?
At the very.
Ah, that sounds like a good idea. When I see a consonant, that would be here. Then I think it's safe to say that I'm not collecting any vowels right now. Now I'm much happier because now, if it's a consonant, then vowels is set to the empty string, and then that last if statement here, it just doesn't do any work. And so that's good. Now, in fact, in this situation, I believe I can forget this initialization because it's going to happen here. In this if-else, vowels gets to be one or the other. That happens all the time. You kind of think you need to initialize it up here, and then later you realize you don't. All right, so this question as to what is something initially is always a really important question when you design these algorithms. And it's usually easier to decide that at this early design stage, when it's all kind of fresh in your mind. And so I always ask myself that question. When I have these variables that get updated through a loop, what is the very first value? And do I need to clear them out once in a while? So those are really good questions to ask yourself about these things. All right, this is a pretty complicated algorithm if you think about it. You know, it's going to be 10, 15 lines of code, and that's about as complicated as they get in CS1. So this is kind of the maximum complexity that you're expected to handle. And as you see, it's fairly involved, right? You have to combine two entirely different algorithms. There's a loop in a loop. There's various variables that get to be set back and forth. And to do something like this, I do not think that anyone, including myself, could implement this thing sitting in front of the computer and just typing it in. There's too much stuff going on. So really, pencil and paper, maybe some Scrabble characters, some coins or something to first get the feel for it so that you'd have some idea of what's happening. All right.
I will see you on Tuesday.